Wheelchair Rapunzel is a 29-year-old content creator who makes content for TikTok and Instagram. She is known as Rapunzel for her long blonde hair, and her real name is Alex Dacey. She is in a wheelchair because she is a disabled content creator. But her being disabled does not stop her from getting into some serious controversies, which we are going to look at today. Not only is she in trouble with her hundreds of thousands of followers, but also with the police. How did Alex go from being well loved to being in trouble with the law? Took many years for her to start being in trouble, which is how she grew a large audience. But by being on social media, she seemed to think that she was above everybody else. That entitled her to do things that other people wouldn't do.
Stable bad bee and get into clubs first.
Video went semi-viral for Alex, and as you can imagine, not in a good way. Most people, if you just said excuse me to them, would move out of your way. But no, she decides that she's going to run into the poor guy, and he is very unsuspecting and taken aback, which anyone would be, wouldn't they? Alex seems to think that because she's got a growing massive audience, that entitles her to be rude to people, and things go from bad to worse for Alex due to her own action. Alex is outside of the stall recording the fact that someone is in there who is able bodied, and people felt that Alex was out of order for calling her out and filming it. The next biggest controversy that happens is Alex creates an OF account, and her followers are not very happy about this. But believe you me, compared to what we are going to cover, that is absolutely nothing. Because now Alex is going to meet her new beau called Noah.
I was fresh out of rehab, and I was on the dating apps, Bumble, Tinder, all that, and I happened to match with Alex on Bumble. And honestly, it's kind of crazy because like her photo, it was like cropped to where you couldn't see. And I have nothing against disabled people, but like it had been something I hadn't been with in the past, and something I didn't know if I was necessarily comfortable being with. So like when I first clicked on her thing, I and matched with her, I didn't even know she was disabled. And then later I went through her photos, I found out. I talked to some buddies and they said, give it a shot, give her a shot. And so we talked for a few days, and then I ended up going over to her house. We hung out. The first red flag, though, was I was in recovery and she was drinking alcohol right in front of me.
Noah has just come out of rehab for a drinking problem, and it is a reoccurring one. Alex is a party girl who loves alcohol, so the two of them together don't bode very well. And Noah becomes Alex's full-time carer because obviously she is disabled. And before, she would get people from Craigslist to come and look after her. But now Noah is on the scene, he takes over as his full-time carer. And then disaster strikes in many people's eyes because Alex falls pregnant. During her pregnancy, she makes hundreds of videos exploiting the fact that she is now pregnant. It was a high risk pregnancy for Alex because of her disability, and also for the fact that both of them like a drink to a degree that makes them alcoholics, allegedly. The relationship doesn't last too long after the birth of baby Ari, and he ends up back in rehab again.
Am I disabled? Yes. Do I have a black eye? Yes. Before we get into the black eye, alright, let's just get into black eye. So I was out downtown Chicago, just having some drinks, having some lunch. Ari was away with her grandparents for the weekend, so I'm like, alright, I'm gonna have a little mama's day. So during my pregnancy, my seatbelt broke, and I never fixed it, which was not a smart move. So I was leaving the restaurant, and I'm like, I'm gonna go home, I'm tipsy and feeling good, I'm having myself a good day. And apparently, I did not see a curb. And I basically face planted, and I severely hurt my shoulder. I have a black eye, and I also have some road rash.
Because of Alex putting out videos like that one, because she does overshare her life all of the time, CPS did get involved, and Alex had many visits from them regarding baby Ari. And don't forget, Noah is no longer around. He pops in every now and again when he's not in rehab, but he is actually not physically there to take care of both Alex and Ari.
The police were just here, and apparently someone online is trying to get me arrested or something. For indecent exposure, because I posted a photo yesterday of me and Ari on the driveway, and I was wearing a towel on my chair. You couldn't even see anything. You could see more at the beach.
You're probably asking, why is she sitting on a towel? Well, it's because when she goes out, sometimes she doesn't wear underwear, and she uses the towel as her disposable toilet, which is absolutely disgusting. So the police arrived because Alex is sitting on the towel and she has no underwear on. And trust me when I say things are just about to get a whole lot worse for wheelchair Rapunzel. Hannah comes onto the scene, and she is going to be employed as a carer by Alex, but things don't go according to plan, because Alex doesn't let anyone use any form of PPE, protective clothing that people wear, such as gloves, when they are dealing with things such as feces. This doesn't go down too well with Hannah, but for a while she does stay and look after Alex and Ari. But then Alex fires her, and she goes on the Dad Challenge podcast. And this is what she had to say about what it was like working for wheelchair Rapunzel.
She doesn't want her caregivers wearing PPE because it doesn't feel natural, or she feels offended by it. Is that true? Did you wear gloves when you did her things?
Oh gosh, no. I was like, why do you think I washed my hands like 10 times after I left? I was like,
so you weren't allowed to wear gloves?
No, I was scrubbing the crap out of my hands after I got off shift. I'm like, literally, I wouldn't even drive home. I literally was scrubbing crap out of my hands. Like,
so this is true. So did she say to you, no wearing PPE gloves?
Literally, she says, I like for it to be all natural. She's like,
it's no natural. There's no natural to that.
She doesn't like anybody wearing gloves. She likes everything to be natural, aired out, gloves wise. Like, literally, I was like, ugh.
No.
I'm not a caregiver.
A caregiver would never, like a licensed caregiver would never be like, yeah, no problem. I'll use my bare hands.
Hannah stayed around for roughly 1 month. But in that time, she also allegedly said that Alex drank alcohol every single day. Now Alex has no one to care for her and Ari, so she decides she's going to send Ari to go and live with her parents in Chicago.
The house hot, and I'm in the hot house.
No. Hot in the house and in the hot house.
It wouldn't be long before Ari is being shipped back off to live with Alex again. And that turns out to be a disaster because Alex puts out a video saying that there was no one to take care of her and she had to sleep in her wheelchair all night.
There's some rumors and things being said on the internet. When you're a single disabled mom, people love to come up with assumptions about like what the scenario is. So I'm here to hopefully enlighten you on the truth. The other day on my Instagram stories, I was talking about how hard it is to be disabled and need caregivers and how hard it has been for me as a disabled person living in Florida to hire reliable caregivers that are responsible. And I had to sleep in my wheelchair one night, which was obviously awful. And I do have my 2-year-old daughter back here with me, but I want to clarify this. I'm going to make it so clear. Ari is never with me by myself. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Including sleeping. Ari is too young for me to be able to be independent with her. There's a nah here. But it is what it is. And I don't take her safety lightly, and she is never with me by myself. Ever. You're sleeping in your wheelchair and she's in her crib. With the little tent that I have on her crib. She has that tent on there because my daughter is taller than average, and she has been crawling out of her crib since she was probably 1.5 years old.
People didn't necessarily believe what Alex was saying in that video. And no one could understand when she is raking in so much money why she doesn't get proper caregivers for her and her daughter instead of getting people who are not qualified from Craigslist because it is cheaper. But now we are going to get on to the massive, major controversy that has made me bring this person to your attention. There is a police report which you can see below that I'm not going to read to you, but you can pause to read it. But the crux of it is that wheelchair Rapunzel had been out drinking and she went back to her apartment and she was in the lift with a 13-year-old boy. And Alex starts asking him questions about school. So she knows that he is of school age, but she asks him to help her into her apartment to get her undressed, put her in the bath, assist her out of the bath, get her dressed again, and put her to bed. Which this 13-year-old boy does all of this. And his mother is calling him to find out where he is because his father had dropped him off at the apartment block, which she knew, and he hadn't come up to their apartment. So the mother obviously calls the police to report to them what her son has just relayed to her. Charges were filed against Alex for lewd and lascivious behaviour.
After I moved back to Illinois to my parents' house from Florida, I got a call from Broward Police Department, and I thought it was something regarding, Noah's case or something like that. But they informed me that there was a warrant out for my arrest, and I started having a full body panic attack. I asked them on what charge, and they told me lewd and lascivious. I believe that's how you say it. And I was like, is that a misdemeanor? And they said, no, it's a felony. The incident that occurred that is in question was regarding an incident that happened back at my apartment in Fort Lauderdale. At the time, my mental health was terrible. I was drinking a lot. So during this time, I really did not have a good caregiving situation. Selena was getting married, so she was really busy with that. I had another caregiver, and she wasn't always available. So there were a lot of times that I would go without care. It was hard to even get my basic needs met during this time. So I was drunk one night, came home to my apartment. I knew I wasn't going to have a caregiver to help me to bed that night. So I saw someone in my elevator in my building, and I asked them if they could help me. And they said yes. And obviously, we all know this is the incident where everyone's talking about the 13-year-old. But with being disabled, my intentions were purely caregiving. There was no sexual motivation whatsoever. I asked him to put me in a bathtub, so he did take off my dress and he put me in the bathtub. I told this to the police. This is all public record as well. And to me, it wasn't weird because at the time, one, I was drunk, and two, to me, caregiving is clinical. It isn't, inherently sexual to see a naked body. But obviously, this kid was younger, and it was not a very good decision on my part, obviously.
And that's where we are up to date. As you can imagine, her followers thought that her actions were irresponsible and revolting. Alex goes back home to be with her parents and takes Ari with her so that they are both being cared for by her parents. So at least the little girl is somewhat safer than being put in a dangerous situation with her allegedly alcoholic mother. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.